welcome to In the Zone. I'm Dave Delgado here with mixed martial arts fighter and gym owner JJ Ambrose. We're here at Still Athletics. Now, JJ, let's rewind back to 2017 when you first decided that you wanted to open up your gym here in Tamuning.
You know, we wanted to raise our daughter on Guam, so anytime I had a fight when I was in the States, you know, I usually go away somewhere for a fight camp. And so when we moved here, obviously the logistics behind going all the way to the States or going to Thailand, it just didn't feel like an option for me. My daughter's growing up at a pretty quick rate, you know, as they do with kids. And we just thought that the best idea would be to open up a facility where, I mean, not just for me, myself, but local fighters as well, because I know how hard it is, you know, to have a family and to be away for, you know, a month at a time before a fight. It's rough, and I'm tired of missing things. You know, like I've missed a Christmas program before, and then, you know, like there's nothing more heartbreaking than when having to tell your daughter that you're not going to make it for this one, you know. And
your vision behind it, like putting the right pieces in the gym. What did you envision? Also for mixed martial arts fighters, but then the community as a whole and offering fitness to them.
Right. So like there's a misconception, I think, in the fitness community, especially with fighting, that you actually have to fight to get in shape. You know, like for years, like fighters, all we would do for getting in shape would be, like, hey, let's spar harder. We're a couple of weeks out, let's just tune up the sparring. But, you know, science says that that's a terrible idea. You know, the concussions, the accumulative damage that we take. So strength and conditioning was it's a much bigger factor nowadays. You know, there's a lot of science behind it. And when we built the gym, that's what it was. You know, that's what we addressed right away. We have a full-size cage to get the psychological effect. You know, like there's nothing like stepping into the cage, you know, after months of not being in one. You know, like immediately, like, you know, when the doors close, you're like, whoa, there's no getting out now. So I mean, that was a big thing for me. We had to buy a cage. We had to get real comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. All the cardio equipment that I have, it's geared towards getting me in the best shape that I possibly can. And then on the other side of that is that a person that has no desire to fight, doesn't want to do anything like that, they can train alongside of me. In fact, my Steel Fit class, I was telling my class the other day, like, in case you guys didn't know, you're 3 weeks out from being ready for a fight. Now, you don't have to do all the sparring and you don't have to diet the same way that I do, but physically, your body's in the same shape as I am if you're following the same program as me.
And you also have classes for kids and beginners to fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was growing up, I was always in some kind of martial arts, whether it was like taekwondo or wrestling and jiu-jitsu in high school. Like that's what we wanted to bring to Still Athletics. We wanted to bring that traditional martial arts background. You know, I never really played organized sports, but I just remember like all the character lessons that I got from being in martial arts, and that was like such a huge factor for me growing up. And that's kind of what we wanted to bring, because I know like good kids make good adults, and then, you know, it makes a better community for everybody.
And besides the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, the MMA side, what other things do you offer here at Still Athletics? So, like, I definitely have a lot of fitness classes. We have a bunch of different trainers from different backgrounds. We just added Des. I mean, she is arguably stronger than me. We haven't quite messed around on the deadlift and squats yet, but I've seen some videos of her working out when I'm not around and I'm training, sparring or something, but I'm pretty sure that we're about the same strength. Not only is she female, but she's also smaller than me, so I'm super impressed with her. We have Jeff. I mean, Jeff's really good with his hands. AK is really good with kickboxing. Pat kind of mixes it up. He's a bodybuilder, but he also likes to fight. So we just have a lot of trainers of all shapes and sizes, and we're geared towards different people, you know? I mean, because everyone comes in here different with a different mindset, and then I feel like we have the personalities to match. And on the jiu-jitsu side and wrestling side, you have always been able to bring
off-island people to kind of spicing up the classes here at Steel?
Yeah, so the thing is, I could send myself off island to go train. I could go to Brazil right now, you know. I could go to Freddie Roach's gym in LA. But what good would that do Guam or anybody in my gym for that matter? So we bring in off island talent that has a little bit more experience than I do. For instance, next week we're bringing in a 5th degree Machado black belt. You know, that's going to be great for the jiu-jitsu community. We're opening that up to the island. You don't have to be a member here to come to his classes. I just want to share jiu-jitsu, want to share martial arts, and make the community better.
And your glorified sparring, you already 2 events in fundraising efforts. The first one you helped with the Shack in Saipan, raised $1,600. This time around you wanted to give back and help with the Tamuning skate park, but you're also giving back to the MMA practitioners and guys that have trained and haven't had the experience yet in the cage.
That's right. So when I was coming up in martial arts with my fighting back in 2005, I remember there was a show every weekend, you know, like, so if I wanted to fight, it was up to me to get in shape and then sign my name on a piece of paper. Here on Guam, we're really limited, and after Typhoon U2 hit Saipan, you know, that was another show that, you know, with Trench, they had to put off the shows for this year because they got so devastated. So, I mean, I feel like it's our responsibility to keep it going. You know, we have to give the local talent somewhere to, like, showcase their passion, get experience, so that when they do get a fight in Japan or California, Hawaii, wherever, they have a little bit of experience, so they're not just getting sent to the wolves, you know. We don't want to be anybody's feeders. I always find it sad when a Guam fighter that he takes the free plane ticket and a couple $100 and gets taken over to Japan to lose. I don't want that to happen. When we go there, I want a fighting chance.
And let's talk about the ways you give back to the community. Of course, the fundraising efforts through the glorified sparring, but you also reach out and go visit kids in the hospital and find different ways to give back.
Yeah, like, I feel like, man, when I'm driving home from work at night, it's like 6 p.m., you know, the sun's going down. I'm like, it's amazing. You know, you drive by the beaches and the sunsets and all the locals. I'm like, man, I feel like I owe something. You know, like, this can't be free. You know, like, all the Instagram posts and stuff, that can't be free. I have to do something to make this place better. And the way I can do that is by giving back, giving time. You know, I don't make a whole lot of money here, but I do what I can. You know, I give if I can. If I have an extra shirt laying around, I don't need that. I can't wear 2 shirts at once. So, I mean, you just have to do what you can to help other people. I feel like that's our responsibility. Funny thing, we went to dinner the other night, and this man dropped a pile of T-shirts. It was from their, like, souvenir rack or something, and my daughter ran up and grabbed it, and she came back, and she said, "Dad, that was good, right?" And I was like, well, yeah, that was good, but I feel like that's our responsibility, bud. So don't give yourself the pat on the back. Just know that if there's a door to be held or something to be given and you can, do it. When you can help people, you have to do it.
Let's talk about your mixed martial arts career. You felt like everything at the gym was in place and it was your time to get back into the ring. Successfully defending your title in Rwanda 18, but recently signing another fight contract.
Yeah, so I have a good friend in Australia. He owns Hex Fight Series. I fought for them many times now. I just knew that I had to hit the ground running this year. I had to set the example for the fighters in the gym. I was like, guys, I'm gonna get real busy. You can come with me if you want. And then, sure enough, I got Jeff Mesa signed to Hex. And then I also reached out to Kelvin Fidial. He's another talent from Saipan, you know, that just is so, like, I guess undiscovered in a way. He hasn't gotten the momentum to get signed by the UFC, but there's no reason why he can't be in there. So we got him on Hex, and I got myself. So me, Jeff, and Kelvin will be heading to Australia in 2 weeks. And then we have Ricky Camp going April 28th for X1. He's fighting for the bantamweight title. You know, I only want the best for our guys. If I'm coming up, they're coming with me. You know, it doesn't do me any good to blow myself up and leave my guys behind. You know, like everyone that's on this train is going to keep going forward. Everyone's coming up.
What's the fight scene like out in Australia at Hex Fighting? I mean, do they create a lot of buzz?
It's amazing. Like I've been to like Australian rules footy games and rugby games, and they're so rowdy. The fans are like they're crazy how into their sports they are. But at the fights, for some reason, like it reminds me of Japan, because they sit there in silence. If something cool happens, they clap and they sit back down. You know, I've been to like 5 events there for fighting, and I didn't see a single like crowd fight, and that's unheard of. They're drinking the entire time, and nothing's going on. You know, like so I'm always like I can hear my coaches clearly, and that's amazing. I mean, if you've ever been to a PXC, you can't hear a single thing except for somebody's granny yelling armbar and elbow. So in Australia, the fight scene is alive and popping, but I feel like they have a really good understanding of like the fighters need to hear their coaches. They need to build a focus, because you know how it is. You've been in ball games where the people are yelling at pitchers, and you know it takes you out of your game a little bit unless you can channel the mechanism, as they say. But yeah, I mean it's a great crowd.
Your recent fight, first round submission. What's that like, fighting overseas in that environment?
You know, like going into that fight, I kept telling the guys, train super hard and your fight's always going to be easy. I mean, it doesn't always work out to that formula, but like all the hard training, it really paid off. I was able to get a really fast submission. You know, the guy made a really tiny mistake in the beginning, and I was able to capitalize and sink a choke in. But going overseas is always cool. I have a routine where I'm pretty much in hibernation mode the week of. I do a little bit of training. They asked me if I wanted to stay at this 5-star hotel, and I said no. Please put me up at an Airbnb with a kitchen, because I like to do my own cooking. You know, like I really get into the mindset the week of the fight. I'm not angry or grumpy or anything. I just like to be in a closed environment, not talking to a lot of people. I don't really do a whole lot of touristy things. You know, like the only touristy thing I did was I ran along a wharf with my phone out so I could snap photos, and then I go back and I look at them, they're all blurry. But the people were really cool in Kuwait. You know, it was kind of cool because I saw my picture on the side of a bus one time, and you know, people are coming up to me and they're greeting me in traditional like Assalamu alaikum, and you know, like I always make it a point to learn a few phrases local. You know, like it's so instead of half a day, they would say Assalamu alaikum, and then you reply Salaika salam. And you know, it's cool. It's cool to dive into other people's culture, because all we see is what's on the media. So,
how is it for nutrition as far as being overseas and trying to find the right meals for yourself?
So, like, you know, wherever I go in the world, I always say that there's a roast chicken somewhere. That's universal. Everybody has those. So it's a lot of roast chicken, a lot of vegetables, and then leading up to the fight, you know, like leading up to weigh-ins, you know, it's just basically water for the 24 hours, and then just kind of suffering a little bit. But, you know, I had an easy weight cut, so it was nice, and just kind of rested most of the time.
What are some of the tips that you have offered to guys like Jeff and Ricky? I mean, Ricky's been a veteran in the game for so long. Jeff has a few fights under his belt, but
yep.
I think the main thing is guys understanding their weight, knowing how much weight to cut, and then how to properly put that back on fight day.
Yeah, I have done the trial and error. When I like back in 2006, I missed weight, so like that's been my thing, is science. Like I keep looking up better ways to do it. Like every fight seems to be easier for me, because I get dialed in earlier. You know, I train year round. I don't really go on vacations. In fact, when I went to California for a week to see my family a couple months ago, I actually booked my hotel based on the gym that I was going to be training at. So it was right next door. That's just the way I live now. You know, this is my life. You know, at least for the next 5 years. I don't know how many more years of fighting I have left in me, because I feel like I'm getting stronger every year. but it's all based on science. Funny thing I told Jeff last night. We were watching the UFC this past weekend, and I heard this 3 times in 3 different fights, and the guys kept saying, bite down on your mouthpiece and go. You gotta go. Bite down and go. And I was thinking, like, you know, after the fights, you know, they ended up, all those guys ended up losing. It's too late for the bite down on your mouthpiece. You know, you're already tired. Nothing the corner's saying is gonna inspire me. I'm not gonna suddenly have new techniques to, you know, to go forward. If I was backing up the whole, I think it was Tyrone Woodley kept backing himself up against the cage and getting taken down. He even outslugged a little bit, but I feel like it's too late to bite down on your mouthpiece. So last night I texted Jeff, it was like 11 p.m. Hey, that you have 3 more weeks of training, bite down on your mouthpiece right now. You know, now's the time. Whatever you think you're gonna do, like cheat meal wise, or if you're gonna take a day off of training because you wanna go do something, don't. Bite down on your mouthpiece right now. After the fight, if you wanna go have a cupcake or ice cream, whatever it is you wanna do it then. But up until this fight, put yourself in the mindset that you're biting down right now.
Yeah, some corners and camps don't really like to focus too much on their opponents and do their homework and watch fight footage, but does that play a factor in preparing for a fight for a fighter, just to make sure you really know your opponent?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things, especially with YouTube now. There's so much fight footage out there. I mean, you definitely want to play to your strengths, but there's so many things that fighters do, and you'll see it in videos. They do it repeatedly, and you have to kind of pick up on those. You know, before he throws his jab, he kind of dips his right hand, so he throws it like a boomerang. Like, okay, well, that means the left hook's right there. I can chase that right hand, right? So, I mean, there's little things that you pick up on. And I think watching videos is super important, getting to know who your opponent is. But I think the coaches should do that, not the fighters. Because sometimes, as a fighter, like, it's just like watching a scary movie. For me, so Jason's chasing the helpless female. We don't put ourselves in our shoes, we put ourselves in the females. Now all of a sudden we're clumsy, we're not running proper, we're hysterical, we're not thinking, and that's how it works. That's how watching fight video works sometimes. Suddenly I'm not JJ Ambrose, I'm whoever my opponent beat up, and I'm not that guy. I'm not going to respond the same way he did. If I get cracked, I remember in the first PXC I fought a couple years ago, Dylan Fussell dropped me with the very first punch he threw, and I came back and ended up beating him. You know, like I scrambled, got on top of him, and out-wrestled him. The guys he fought prior might have not gotten up from that. And that's what I have to do. I have to remember who I am, you know, who I am as an individual, as a fighter, and what my mindset is. So when you watch videos, sometimes you have this habit of putting yourself in the other guy's shoes. And that's where you don't want to be. So for me, I watched a couple of videos on who Jeff's fighting, who Ricky's fighting, and I'm like, hey, I got some ideas. And then we go there. I don't say, hey, look out for a heel hook, because that's all I'm going to be thinking about. It's more like we're going to work on a lot of defense here. And I'm going to do it like without even telling him for the most part. Like, instead of, hey, we got to get your wrestling better, I'm just going to shoot double legs on you until you defend them.
Let's talk about Ricky's fight. He's fighting for the belt. Who's he fighting, and what are some of the things you've seen in fight videos that can prepare Ricky for that fight?
Yeah, I don't know his name offhand. He's real short and stocky. I think he's about 5'4", but he's just a little ball of muscle. But I noticed the guy fades towards the end. And, you know, I think with Ricky, like, his strength will be, he's got such good conditioning without even trying. You know, the guy, man, I've never seen him really gas out. It's incredible, the level of cardio. I ran 5Ks with him. I remember one time I was just about to catch him. I'm like, I'm going to burn this guy at the end. And he turned back and he saw me and then just took off. He had like a 6th gear that he was like he must have been just cruising in this 5K, and I'm running my heart out, and he took off.
Yeah, I think Ricky's one of those guys, for a fighter, body, ideal size, weight, like you said, doesn't run out of gas. Striking is crisp, wrestling, good base.
Yep.
But what are some of the things that you think Ricky's going to have to do in order to be a successful fight night?
So I think early on he's going to have to be on his bike, because that guy's going to be coming forward with looping hooks, you know, the overhand right, of course. So Ricky just needs to play it first, a smart filling out process in the first round, and then in the second round open up a little bit with his hands, maybe get a takedown. But I think in the first round he should just be on his bike a little bit, just peppering him with jabs and moving out of the way of the big right hands. Because what happens when you start missing punches, when you can't catch a guy, you start opening yourself up. You just walk forward, and you're just going to walk into hands, you're going to walk into takedowns, because you're having to open up more than you normally would. I mean, instead of walking a guy down, you're almost like jogging forward to catch somebody, especially the way Ricky moves. He's so in and out. You know, he never goes up, down. It's always left, right, diagonal, circle, circle. It's really frustrating to spar him. So I can imagine his opponent's going to have fits trying to catch him.
All right, well, good luck to you, Jeff, Ricky, Kelvin. Let's get some info real quick before we close out the show. Anybody out there that want to take classes or information about Steel Athletics?
Yeah, I mean, so we always offer our first class free, because I know what it's like to walk into a gym and have no idea what you want to do. So, I mean, even if people want to be like, I want to take your boxing class, but I also want to try jiu-jitsu. I don't care. It doesn't, I mean, no sweat off my skin. Happy to let anybody take whatever classes they want, you know, do a day pass or something, and then just get a feel for the gym, because I know my gym's not for everybody. There's 200,000 people on Guam right now. I have about 300 members at the moment. Less than 10% of that 200,000 belong to a gym. So I want the other 90% that aren't belonging to a gym. You know, like, I just want people to get active, whether it's here or at another gym around the island.
All right, info.
So check us out on Instagram, Steel Athletics. You can check my page out, Super JJ Ambrose. We offer a pretty good discount with Select Care. If you're under Select Care, come check us out. I'm in talks right now to get Select Care free for all kids. I think it's like, I want to really push the kids program and make the island healthier. That's always been the goal now, you know.
All right, well, thanks for being on the show. Don't forget, you can catch me every Thursday, 9 in the morning for In the Zone on Facebook Live.